almost gave up on everything. As many people know, I have a disorder called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. This learning difficulty causes me not to concentrate on basically anything that becomes uninteresting in about a second. My mind will just consistently race from one thing to another. Consistently, I got in trouble time and time again. Shannon, stop moving, sit still, just concentrate. So I thought, look where I am right now, studying to be a teacher and living out my future career dreams. This topic surely should be interesting, so at least I can concentrate somewhat. The whole story starts back when I was in grade 1. I went to public school that wasn't the richest in resources and tended to struggle with finding the funding for anything. But I loved it. I went to classes and jumped around and played with my friends, and I had the feeling that I wasn't where everyone else is. That I wasn't on their level at all. At lunch, I would run around and play with my friends and walk into the classrooms and just treat it like my playground. However, one day things changed. So I was sitting outside on the bench with my little school bag, waiting for my parents to come pick me up, when my teacher comes out with my parents from the classroom, and they sit down with me and talk about how my movements aren't my fault. My energy isn't my fault. This teacher changed my life. She showed me that people noticed I didn't understand where I was going with my classroom. Quickly after this fact, I was told that I could never achieve higher than a C by this teacher. This is when she brought me down. I don't know why she did this. Maybe she was trying to help me not get my hopes up, or maybe she's just looking for someone I can express my energy into something else. Later, I moved schools to a very high resources private school. The difference is made on me. Therefore, there was this one teacher named Mrs. B. When I moved schools, I was consistently pulled out of the classes to go to the support classes, where I would have to sit and actually do one-on-one attention and then make sure I pay attention. Mrs. B changed this for me by making these classes exciting and fun. Instead of sitting down and writing my timetables out repeatedly, she spent time making games out of the work. This was a massive change for me. I went from not paying attention consistently, time and time again, to finally achieving my first high mark in my class. Look at me now. I'm becoming a future teacher. I'm learning. I am growing from past teachers I have had, and I can learn to make my content fun and engaging. This encourages me to be just like Mrs. B, to create an environment for my students to achieve more and strive for their best. The interesting thing that comes from my experience is the standards for teachers. The Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership outlines the core standards that are needed for teachers. One standard from their list really applies to the situation I dealt with, which knowing the students and how they learn. The main reason I want to be a teacher is so I can have the understanding of my students and build them up from within their learning. Another great example of this learning story begins in the Code of Ethics. As teachers, we need to be respectful and create our students' learning the ability to create lasting and strong relationships with them. Also, just basically help them succeed. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. Thank you and good night. Or good morning.